Hey everyone! Earlier in June, I posted a poll that asked what would be your top 4 sets that I should build and review without the instructions, and most of you chose the Cat and the Lambo, so you could already see those videos on my channel. And now it's time for the construction excavator. Here's a quick look at some of the features on the back of the box, including a different angle of the machine, which I appreciate. This is openable, and the whole thing rotates 360 degrees. Let's open the box. So in this box, we got 6 numbered bags, which don't all contain the same amount of pieces. These 2 pieces are not part of any bag, and they're fairly flexible. We also get this instruction manual that we will not be using. It does have this QR code in the corner if you want to scan it for the insider points, though. We also get a sticker sheet that's not too bad. At least there's only 6 stickers here, not 27, like the Lambo. We also get a teal brick separator in this set, and there are 3 minifigures. I will assemble them as I run into them across each bag, but we'll look at the minifigures at the end when they're all together. Whenever there's a tiny piece like this one, I'm putting it in the corner just so I don't use it by mistake. And that's because LEGO usually includes extras of these tiny little pieces, although I've noticed they're doing that a bit less these days compared to the past. So bag 1 gives us the cabin, or the lower half of it at least, and the interior part, the internal part of the engine compartment, with lots of studs all around, as well as the 2 minifigures, as well as these small warning signs. There's 2 of them. You build the remaining pieces. And the build here was mostly straightforward, interesting use of colors to help young builders put everything in the right place. The walls here are unusually thick. They're 2 studs thick instead of 1, so this is all solid, it's all filled up. And here you might think that when I was building this, I was wondering what's the purpose of this piece here. It doesn't seem that useful. Why would we go through the trouble? It's actually to basically stop this piece from going inside, but keep it very easy to open. So that's some interesting building techniques here using the headlight bricks. So bag 2 covers up that engine section, and it also includes a tiny little engine build, which is super hard to see just from the 3D view. Basically, just looking at it from between here, and a little bit of it is shown on the box at the back, but basically this engine is removable easily because it's on this jumper plate. So it kind of reminds me of some LEGO Icon sets for adults. So this set is kind of doing a dual purpose here. That's pretty interesting. These pieces, I don't know where they go. I'm guessing that this goes on top of this. And likewise here. If I do find their place later, I'll put them somewhere. Otherwise, I'll just put them to the side. I don't think they're super important. Bag 3 builds most of this boom. It's the bag in which we finish the sticker sheet, yay! And also, it's the bag where we use these pieces here. So this is pretty nice. We can already see the machine starting to take shape. Just 3 more bags to go, but they're smaller than the first 3. So bag 4 builds this cabin, a little nice light on top. This whole thing is removable, so that's pretty cool. And the final part of the boom, this part here in black, and again with these friction pieces to make it allow for flexibility, but not make it too loose. So that's pretty nice. I've not seen these pieces personally before. I'm not sure if they're new or if they already exist. And also in this bag, we get the final minifigure of the set. So bag 5 builds this foundation without the treads. Lots of funky colors in the middle, but they all get covered up quite nicely and you don't really notice them. I noticed with bag 6, some of these treads come in a separate bag. I'll actually keep these on the side and just build these into one long thread and see what happens. And yes, this is the most boring part of the build, but at least they kept it for the very end. So I've made this very long chain It probably is too long for just one side, so what's going to happen is I'll cut this in half, and we'll see how good it is. And are these all extras, or do we really need them? That seems unsatisfying to me, why they would divide these threads in this particular way. Maybe there's a good reason for it in the instructions, but I'm not going to look at those. This doesn't make sense to me, why they would put most of them here, and some of them in this little bag right here. That feels about right to me. So we're basically going to do the same on the other side. Once again, I'm not looking at the instructions for this, so I don't know the exact number that should be there. I'm just doing this based on the feeling. Right. Yeah, that feels good. Alright, we're now officially done with the build. We do have these extra pieces here, but they're meant for play rather than being part of the model. I'll show you that in a bit, but first let's take a look at the minifigures. So in this set we got 3 minifigures shown here. They're very nice to get, and each one of them is unique in every way. You have here the boss or the engineer who is wearing a suit and tie. There's no printing on the legs, there's only printing on the front of the torso and a little bit on the back. And he's carrying a blueprint for another LEGO City set, so it's nice when LEGO includes references to their other sets, and this set is currently on sale if you want to get it. You do get this guy who is a construction worker who has a jackhammer and wearing overalls. The print here is very nicely done. And the color of the torso is a nice reddish orange. It's not regular orange or regular red, so that's nice to see. Very appropriate for construction work. And finally, we have the excavator operator who is carrying a walkie-talkie and also has a hearing aid. No alternative expression for any of the figures. However, the 2 male figures do get alternative hair pieces. So this is what that looks like, and I really appreciate that LEGO is including these extra hair pieces more and more. We can use these pieces with various characters, we can swap them around, or we can put them in our personal collection. Now it's time to get down to business, so let's deploy these signs here to let people know not to trespass, and we'll bring in the excavator. It makes a very satisfying noise when it comes along, and just to clarify something, these are not cheater wheels, these are actually wheels that are used to hold onto the threads. So I'm just going to spin this around for easier access. We're going to get the operator. By the way, you could switch around the minifigure parts however you like to make this the engineer or make this guy the operator as you prefer, because they all have gender neutral parts. So we just take this off, it all comes out in one assembly, and put the operator in here. Maybe the walkie-talkie needs to stay out, but that's fine. And here's a closer look at the cabin with the controls. Here we're using the calculator piece to represent some kind of control system. The hand does not quite reach to this lever, but it's pretty close. So we can imagine that she's just about to reach to these levers right here. Let me close this up again, and let's get to work. So first of all, let's spin this around. And this thing can rotate all the way thanks to that ball joint, so it can just spin around and around and around. But we're just going to get these pieces. And here, unfortunately, there's no motorization, so we'll have to scoop them basically by hand. It's not that easy to do. You're going to have to like help it out a little bit by pushing them in with your hand, or by holding your hand like this and basically forcing them in. Let's try to see if we can fit all these pieces in the bucket. Okay, yeah, so the bucket, basically, they gave us the correct number of pieces to fill the bucket more or less. So let's say move it to some faraway location, maybe adjust the angle a little bit to make it better. We spin around, we go to some other part of LEGO City, and then we just dump the load. There we go. So that's the play pattern for this. Again, there's here, here, and here, there's these elements with some level of friction to them, so it doesn't just, so it holds itself in place basically. So I can adjust the angle as I would like it to be, and it's going to hold itself more or less. So that's pretty good. The rotation here is also pretty good with the ball joint, so that means that it's going to rotate, but there's also some friction, so it doesn't just spin around on its own. So that was a good choice in my opinion. The other way they could have done this is with some kind of ratcheting system, but that would have made it like you'd have to like click it into place, which is not very realistic. So this is a better solution in my opinion. It feels more natural. The design of the vehicle in general is very well done. The color consistency is amazing here. There's no ugly colors that you don't want to see. It's all, except for these blue pins, which I've pointed out time and time again. I understand it's a set for kids. It's a play set more than a display set, at least officially. So I can tolerate the blue pins here, but that does not mean that I like them. Although this is very, very close to being a set that's intended for adults and for display. Like I could see people at a construction company buying this set and just displaying it because it just looks very cool. From far away, it does not even look like LEGO. So this is really next level in terms of the design. There are a few stickers here, here, and here at the back, and same thing on the other side. like the same kind of sticker but done on 2 pieces instead of 1. It doesn't bother me that much. These stickers, like on the Lambo, there's only 6 stickers, and I think if you leave out most of them, it's not going to detract significantly from the design. This ADT company is new to me. I don't know if it's a reference to some old Lego set or some reference to a Lego designer or something I'm just not aware of. If you do know what this refers to, please leave a comment down below. I don't know what this elephant is referring to. Is it something that already exists, or is it something that's upcoming? So we're going to get like an elephant modular building or something. We don't know. So that's always fun to think about. We do get like some anti-studs here, which is not the best look. So it's not too bad, but at the same time, I wish they would have tiled this off just to make it more consistent with everything else. This doesn't bother me too much because it's a small surface, but this is a larger one. I would have expected them to tile this off. These pieces here, the cables, they look really good. They really take this to the next level, because if this was not here, the look would be a lot more plain. This gray piece here is not the best look. The way like it has like these exposed pins and the blue pins here at the bottom. I wish this could have been covered up a little bit better, but overall it's not a very big deal. Here it feels like this is a bit empty, and I would like to put something here, or maybe have some kind of railing or something so that an additional minifigure can be here safely. But unfortunately no such railing is included in the set, although you could use maybe some of these pieces to improvise something. Look at the shaping of this thing. It looks like an 18+ model. It's very, very well done, very detailed. And I don't say that LEGO should go back to making old playsets that are very bare bones. I think kids deserve to have very nice looking things also. I would have loved to get this set as a kid. And if you're a kid today, you're very lucky to be able to get this set. As long as you can afford it, of course, or your parents can. But the story for price and value, we'll talk about that at the very end. You get this nice exhaust thing here, and the motor is removable, as I pointed out during the build process. This is another thing that reminds me of LEGO 18+ sets, having things that you can remove, look at, and then put back. So it's a pretty nice little engine build here. This did not need to be here, but the fact that this is here, I think, is a nice bonus. And basically it's preparing kids of today for the LEGO sets of tomorrow that will be even more detailed than what we have now. So it's pretty exciting. Like if I was a kid building this and I'm like, ooh, cool, I can build a motor, put it inside and take it out, look at it, I will continue to expect this from LEGO sets going forward. So in a sense, this is kind of subliminal messaging that LEGO is doing for future customers, which I really like. So yeah, and even here at the bottom, they did not skimp out on the details. Thankfully, there's no blue pins right here. It's all very consistent, and these parts here are printed, and like these pieces go all the way up. So if you're a minifigure, you can actually imagine the minifigure climbing up these steps and then going here and then into the cabin. It's really well done. Here's a look at it from the front. This here feels a little bit unfinished to me, these exposed studs here at the bottom, but I understand that this is how it was done, and we need this free space to be able to move this thing up and down. I just wish there was a way to tile it off. Not a big deal. There's even like this ladder here that's used. You can imagine this to be a real ladder, or you can just imagine it to be some decorative element. And yeah, from the rear, it looks absolutely gorgeous, very smooth. And again, the elephant logo here at the back, it makes it look like it's a real company. And if you do own a real construction company, you can print your own custom stickers instead of the elephant and make it look like your own company's thing. This is awesome. This is amazing. There's also these lights here. They don't actually light up, but again, they take it to the next level in terms of detailing. There's also a light here at the top, but this one is more standard, and you can find this even on tiny little forklifts that LEGO has. Here's a tiny little build I was able to make with those loose parts, just so they're not scattered everywhere. Now, in order to talk about price and value, I want to bring in the LEGO mobile crane from 2022. So this is a set that I built without instructions last year. It recently retired. You can still find it on some store shelves. Depending on your location, you might be able to find it online as well. So this set here cost 40 US, 50 Canadian, and at the time that I built this set, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was an amazing set at the time, and I still think that today. It really is the color scheme is different, but it looks a little bit more cartoonish. Not necessarily a bad thing, because it's a children's toy. Like, there's lots of things that are not realistic about this one, but overall it was a good build for its time, and I still think it stands like if this was on sale today, nobody would call it a bad set. But when you compare this to the upcoming mobile crane, at least in North America and Europe, it's already been released, that one is just like on another level in terms of appearance and size. But for a small toy, I think this is perfectly sufficient. This is really nice. Now, the excavator here is a bit larger in size, as you can see, although a lot of the pieces that it uses are these treads or some 1x1 pieces like this one here. So, and this one costs $55 US or $70 Canadian. So basically 40, 55 US or 50, 70 Canadian. And I'm trying to think, is this worth that difference, like going from this to that? So this one came with 2 figures, by the way. This one comes with 3. So that's around $5 roughly in both currencies. That's how much LEGO values these figures. In reality, they cost $1 or $2 to produce, but they value them at being approximately $5. We do get a few extra pieces here, but these, I would value them at like 10 cents each, and that's being generous. So this whole thing is worth like $1 in my opinion, and not worth that much. The same applies with these pieces here. These are printed, but it's a fairly simple print on like a two-dimensional surface. LEGO's been doing this since the 1960s or 70s. I don't think you can say that this print is worth too much, in my opinion. So like, I'll give this another $1 if I'm being generous. I feel like this one is a little bit overpriced, even though if you look at the US price per piece ratio, it's not that bad because it has 633 pieces for $54. But a lot of these pieces are very tiny, or there's these thread pieces here that don't really count as much. So I would like to see this set at like a 10% discount as the regular retail price. I know these LEGO City sets, they always go on 20% discount on Amazon and other retailers over time, and even at lego.com, you might be able to get some gifts with purchase with LEGO City. So if you do get this set on a discount, I think it's a good set to get. It's like, the build quality is amazing. I do guess that you should give the LEGO designers a little bit extra credit for making this a really good looking set. So yeah, let's give them some extra credit for that. But I would like to see the set discounted. Yeah, so that gives you a better idea for the size difference between these two things. This one can go up. This, by the way, this particular angle does not move. It's fixed in place, unfortunately. So this is the furthest extent for the excavator. Cannot go higher than this, at least not without modification. Both of them are against the wall, so you get the sense for the scale for both of them. Yeah, both of these are very good to get. If I had to pick a favorite, I personally prefer cranes to excavators. I also hated having to put all these threads together. That was a bit tedious. But in terms of just general theming and visual appearance, I prefer this. Like, it's much more professional. The color scheme is a lot more consistent. I see like machines like this in real life a lot more than I see these blue and yellow cranes. So this is a lot more realistic. Yeah. So it's a tough call to pick a favorite between two very good models. I really enjoyed putting this one together, and same thing with this one. And because of my experience with the crane, I was able to build this faster than I would have otherwise. So that's good to know. So I think that sums up my thoughts on this excavator. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And please make sure to like the video, share it with your friends and whoever you think is interested in LEGO City construction. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It really helps me out, and you get notified every time I have a video. That's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into Versatile Fun Designs, and I'll see you all in the next one.